The shadow is part of our personal unconscious. It is the part of us that we reject, that we don't want to admit that we have. So when we are children, we are most natural. We have this angry side, we have this violent side, we fight with other children, we hit other children, we steal things, we bite, we spit. We don't really know what is right and what is wrong. And as we grow up, our parents tell us, you can't be angry, you can't hit other children, in school you must be polite, you must be kind. We learn what is socially acceptable and what is socially unacceptable. And the things that are socially unacceptable are showing our anger, being violent, being overly sexual. Another thing, so that was what Freud was most interested in, the aggressive side, which is the angry side, the violent side, and the sexual side. And he found that those were the two hardest things for human beings to accept about themselves and to show other people, because by our society, our parents, our culture, those things are not always acceptable. So when we're children, we have all of these things, and as we grow up, we learn what our society thinks is acceptable and what our society thinks is not acceptable. And so we take our aggressive side, we take our violent side, the dangerous side, and we push that down. We push it down deep inside us, almost so that we don't have to see it. We hide it somewhere, and we don't want to admit that actually we are violent, we are angry, we are hateful. We have these negative qualities. And as we grow up and we become more accepted by our society, we start to work in our society, we have friends, we have families, the shadow is still inside us. These things that we reject, they are still a part of us. They form our shadow, the side that we don't want to look at, the side that we think we don't have, that we want to pretend we don't have. But everybody has this shadow, right? We are all capable of hurting other people if we need to. We are all capable of killing other people if we need to protect ourselves, if the situation requires these violent things, these violent acts. And Carl Jung was one of the first people, so he's as we've talked about many times, he's a very famous psychoanalyst, and he was one of the first people to discover this part of us. And he was the one who said that some people have very thick black shadows, and some people have very thin light shadows. And he said that the difference between these people was the people who have very thin light shadows, these people allow their dark side, their anger to come out. They express these violent things, these aggressive things inside them, maybe in healthy ways, maybe in unhealthy ways, but at least they let it out every now and again. And that's what keeps them normal. That's what keeps them healthy, able to function in our society, psychologically healthy and balanced. By letting out their shadow, they make their shadow lighter and thinner. The people who have the very dark, heavy, thick black shadows. Those are people who push their dark side deep inside them, and they never let any of those things out. They never show their anger or their aggression. They're never violent. These people are considered to be very kind and very gentle and very polite people, very nice. They always help. They are always so generous. And these people, eventually, because they never let their shadow out, it just becomes thicker and darker and denser and heavier. And eventually, one day, they explode. They buy a gun and they kill 20 people, or they do all kinds of just terrible things because they have been building that dark side for so long, and eventually they cannot contain it, they can't hold it, they can't control it anymore. It has to be let out, and they become monsters, uncontrollable monsters. And people say, well, I don't even know how could he do that? How is that even possible? He was such a nice person, and one day he just killed so many people. He just exploded. It happens, and we are all like this. So what we're trying to do is integrate our shadow. Integrate means to let the dark side in and allow the dark side to mix. Like this image you can see, we have the two sides. To integrate is to try and combine both the dark and the light so that we can become whole. As you can see from this quote from Carl Jung, I'd rather be whole than good. If you are good, what you are doing is you are not accepting your dark side. You are not integrating your dark side. You are pushing those things that you reject deeper and deeper down, and you don't want to accept them. So you're good. You're a good person. But good people tend to explode if they don't integrate their dark side. It's healthy to integrate, to allow the dark side to come out. So what forms the whole human being is to have both the light and the dark mixing together. And that's what makes you a powerful, that's what makes you a useful human being, or an integrated human being, or a whole human being.